we need to be optimistic. I mean, it's a hard challenge out there. I also do a report every year on what was the top story of the past year. 2022 was, how the Ukraine war shocked the world and how all the impacts that has had on cybersecurity in so many ways. You can read that report also at Lohrmann on cybersecurity. So look at 2022 and then the new report that's coming out later this week on 2023.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Engatica interview series. I'm your host Anshdeep Kaur, and we're really glad to have Dan Lohrmann, Field Chief Information Security Officer for Public Sector and Client Advisor at Presidioon on the show. We're really glad to have you join us today. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be with you and look forward to the conversation.
So I'll just brief you before we move ahead about Engatica. So the Engatica interview series is a powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world, a platform that provides latest news on AI, automation, and technologies that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community, learn, share, and grow with us. So Dan, AI is still young, and yet it's profoundly changing how businesses operate. So where do you see the future of AI heading, and how crucial is cybersecurity in that process?
I think AI, artificial intelligence, is vitally important. It is growing. It's showing up in lots of different ways right now, especially with machine learning currently, augmented reality, more and more ways. It's affecting everything from the movies we watch to the businesses we run to the toys we play with at home. So, I mean, it really is in every area of our lives. And more and more, I think, we're going to see machine learning changing, it's already changing the way cybersecurity works in society and how, attacks are directed at different enterprises. Also how companies defend themselves, because the bad actors are using artificial intelligence to attack our systems, to look for holes, to look for ways to access our systems. And so, honestly, with the talent shortage we have around the world, with the different ways that organizations are struggling really to keep up with the attacks, the cyber attacks that are happening to them, artificial intelligence and the tool sets are a big part of the solution. Artificial intelligence obviously is playing out in lots of areas of life. I'm not an expert just in artificial intelligence. I'd say in cybersecurity, I'm seeing it more and more being built into tool sets, aiding teams to be able to defend their enterprises, whether that be a public sector or private sector, in government, more and more being used in all kinds of different ways. I mean, certainly there are AI examples of large systems like Google and other companies that are doing very advanced research in AI. I'm not an expert in those areas, but I will say that cybersecurity is going to be growing even more and more and more important over the next decade. I see this becoming a core area that's required for all technology teams to have in their tool suite as it's built into the different tools that we use in the coming decade.
So talking about technology, what role do you think technology can play in developing cybersecurity solutions to meet the growing customer gaps and shortfalls?
Well, I mean, it's integrated. I mean, it's absolutely, I say, cybersecurity is a part of every area of life right now. Technology is a part of every area of life. Everyone's got a smartphone. Everyone's got smart homes. Certainly, whether it be a smart thermostat, using Siri, the commercials on TV in the U.S. this Christmas are all about, I can turn on the Christmas lights with my car, and that's, that edge of what technology can do is just growing every year. And it's really a part of everything we do. It's integrated into how we do our jobs, how we communicate, how we function as a society, and certainly how businesses run as well. And cybersecurity is an integral part of that. And so technology has got to be, constantly innovating. We're going to talk about security predictions in a few minutes, but as the new year comes, we're seeing more and more ways that technology is advancing everything from, space and satellites, autonomous vehicles, to, how we have government systems, communicate. More and more systems are being digital systems, and we're finally getting closer towards that paperless office that we talked about 20 years ago. But technology is a part of really everything we do, every system we have, and so cybersecurity has got to be integral to that. And also, technology advances will help cybersecurity improve, and that plays out in really every area of technology and cybersecurity, from things like multi-factor authentication, using passwordless authentication, to how we, integrate basically identity systems, facial recognition, all kinds of different areas of security and technology. So advances in technology are a huge part of cybersecurity.
So how crucial is cybersecurity as a parameter in the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, it's vitally important. I mean, it's this tension between ease of use and cybersecurity. But I think more and more and more, they have to be done together. Cybersecurity needs to be built in at the beginning of the process, and so there's lots and lots of famous quotes around. Simplicity is hard, and making it easy to use and intuitive. I mean, Apple is really good at that. A lot of different companies are really good at that, at making your smartphone easy to use, making interfaces easy to use. But if they're not secure, people won't use them. So at the end of the day, if it can be hacked, if it's, whether it's how you interact with your bank, how you have payments, and how you pay your bills, and how you buy your stocks, and really all these different areas of finance. If it's not secure, people aren't going to use it. And so, we certainly can't go back to everyone. More and more, for example, in the United States, there's fewer branches where you can go to the bank. People are doing more and more online banking. And so, for example, those have to be secure processes. And so that means how you connect, how you interact, building that trust that that when you get an email or you get a message from someone, it in fact is coming from who you think it's coming from. And I still think we have a ways to go. I mean, I still think today phishing and social engineering, threats, business email compromise are still huge challenges that organizations face. And we're hearing more and more examples of how people click on links and they get ransomware. It brings down corporations. So, I mean, cybersecurity is fundamental. It's got to be part of everything we do. It's top of the list for CIOs, chief information officers around the world, and CISOs. Of course, it's with CISOs as well, chief security officers.
Right. So, given your experience with technology, what do you believe that lies in the future of conversational intelligence, and how's it going to change the world of customer service?
Yeah, I mean, I think conversational intelligence, I mean, it's going to revolutionize the way we do business. I mean, I think everyone kind of agrees that 10 to 15 years out, it's going to be, the help desk as we know it today won't exist. I mean, it's going to be, or just maybe the tier 2 or the really difficult problems will get routed towards, your tier 2 or tier 3, help desk, maybe your experts in the back end. But that front end, we're already seeing that. I think today, the current state of the art is it's still frustrating because people call up and they call their airline or they call their bank or they call the local store and they get that automated system. And sometimes it's great. I just want to check my account balance, check your account balance, hit 1, do this, that. The other thing, automated systems today, work pretty well. And then they try and have conversation. You can talk to me like a human, tell me what you want to do. But a lot of times people want to get around that person and get to the human still, right? They still want to, I mean, it's kind of frustrating because what you want to do doesn't fit into one of those 3 buckets. So, I mean, honestly, there's still a lot of frustration right now. I mean, there's all these websites that tell you how to get around that automated conversational intelligence today. I don't think we're there yet, but I do think we're going to get there. I think, chatbots and these kinds of things are certainly tools that are being used more and more and more to save money, but it's a challenge with the customer service piece because again, people trying to get around it all the time. And even like, I mean, I'm platinum with Delta Airlines, as an example, and they give you ways to bypass the automated system and go straight to a person. So, I mean, the reality is, I think people still would rather talk to a human today. I think over the next decade, we're going to get to a point where that, we're gonna reach a tipping point where it really will have the ability to really not cause that level of frustration. And I think getting there is going to be a journey. I think it's going to be, I don't want to give a date, but over the next 5 to 10 years, I think we're going to get there, and more of that front level help desk will be conversational intelligence, or using new technologies that'll get better and better and better to interact with us.
Right. So, Dan, being a thought leader in cybersecurity, what measures do you think the organizations and individuals also should take to protect themselves from cyber incidents?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a number of different things that everyone should be doing. Clearly, multi-factor authentication is a baseline. We're going to talk about predictions in a minute, but more and more, I think as we head into the new year, they're talking about ways you can defeat MFA. But I think still MFA is clearly better than just generic, passwords, even long passwords that can be stolen. Somebody could, hack a database and get your passwords. If that's a hard-coded, password, they can, they can still get into your system. A lot of the attacks, the ransomware attacks and others, were from stolen credentials, and they're able to get in the system. So clearly MFA is one. Backups is another, just really making sure on your own personal equipment and your companies, making sure you have multiple levels of backups that you can access, that data. I think I just read an article this morning where a very famous author was so glad she did a backup the day before because she got hit with an attack and, was unable to access her system. And thankfully she had that backup of a novel she was about ready to, to send to the editor. So, I mean, clearly we all have those pictures. We have those things we've written that we want to save. So many people still don't do that. And having multiple levels of ways you can get to systems. I think as organizations, even you have an incident response plan. What if I get attacked? What if I have a data breach? I know one of the things that the bad actors will do is first thing they'll do is they'll encrypt the drives that you've got on your network or your cloud storage or whatever, if they can get to it, if they're inside your networks. And so I know people that literally couldn't even get to their incident response plan because it was encrypted. So using multiple places, making sure those backups are tested, that they actually work is important. And I would just say, constantly need one last thing for professionals and cybersecurity leaders, especially, we need to all be constantly learning. We need to be constantly seeing what's coming next, because, just because something was stopped yesterday or last week or last month doesn't mean the bad actors aren't going to find a way to get around that, and tomorrow it's going to different. So we're in a constantly changing field. So we need to be learning things about, the laytest tricks around clicking on links with phishing, the latest kind of techniques that are used, low code, no code ways of hacking people, and just using good old fashioned, social media to trick people into providing information that would lead to a data breach. So we need to constantly be keeping up to date. So I just say, we need to be lifelong learners is what I'm trying to say. And we all need to be constantly learning as you're teaching people on this show. And I certainly think that's got to be an ongoing challenge. I'm in my late 50s and I'm constantly learning new things all the time. And that thirst for knowledge is still there. So passionate about learning new technologies and new techniques in cybersecurity.
That's really impressive. So, Dan, since you do security prediction reports, how does the technology benefit from it, and how does the society and security as a whole benefit from it? And also, where can we find that report?
Absolutely. So every year I write a big report for Government Technology Magazine. It's coming out on the 23rd of December this year, but you can go back. Lohrmann on Cybersecurity is my blog. And the report is always it started this actually in 2014, but the top it was the top 15 security predictions for 2015, the top 16 for 2016. This year will be the top 23 security predictions for 2023. And these are not my predictions, these are industry predictions. So why this is so important, it's another way of learning, as I was just mentioning, is these are some of the top industry vendors like Trend Micro and WatchGuard and Kaspersky and Google and Mandiant, and I go right down the list. They come out with reports every year, and these reports are very, very helpful. They have research. Trend Micro, the top company on the list this year, does over 100 references, so you can dig in. These aren't just guesses that people think, I think something might happen next year. They actually connect the dots. They do the research. They really look at trends from the past year. They look at what's happened, and it's sometimes over the next couple of years. So sometimes it's people make predictions and they get it wrong. It doesn't actually happen in, say, 2023, but maybe it'll happen in 2024. But if multiple vendors are saying the same thing, trends around artificial intelligence, trends around protecting satellites in space, trends around where are we going with multi-factor authentication or other types of new technologies, that's really important. And reading them, I find interesting every year. I give a list, I rank them, the reports from 1 to 23, and then I have some bonuses and give out awards. And again, you can find it, my blog is called Lohrmann on Cybersecurity. You can just type in Dan Lohrmann, it'll pop right up, but Lohrmann on Cybersecurity. You can go read the report, encourage you to do that, and read the links. It's just not what I say, it's what these vendors are saying. One last quick point I want to mention on this. Companies like Gartner and Forrester do a great job. You say, well, those are the companies I go to for predictions. There's other companies that do a great job. They charge, in many cases, $50,000, $100,000 for subscriptions to get some of the same information these vendors are giving away annually. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy Gartner or Forrester. They're great companies. They provide great information. They even have joined in and provide some free stuff over Christmas that people can learn from and engage in. But this is a lot of really good material that is valuable that we can learn from, and we all need to be reading these over the holidays and really learning from them.
Wow, that's impressive. So are there any other thoughts you'd like to leave our audience with?
I want to thank everyone for listening. And, I think we need to be optimistic. I mean, it's a hard challenge out there. I also do a report every year on what was the top story of the past year. 2022 was, how the Ukraine war shocked the world and how all the impacts that has had on cybersecurity in so many ways. You can read that report also at Lohrmann on Cybersecurity. So look at 2022 and then the new report that's coming out later this week on 2023. So I certainly encourage you to visit Lohrmann on Cybersecurity to learn about that. But even with all of the challenges and all the attacks and all the ransomware hitting us, we need to remain optimistic, because I really think that security pros in this field, we are making a difference. And if people do take steps to protect themselves, they can greatly reduce the likelihood of a security incident. So it's important work, and thank you for everyone for all that you do to help protect your company and your governments around the world.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to access to exclusive content from thought leaders from around the globe. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you, the new experts, soon.